And welcome to Technology Tap. I'm Professor J. Rod. In this episode, the story of the USB flash drive, power in your pocket. Let's tap in. Welcome back to Technology Tap. I'm your host, Professor J. Rod. And today we're diving into the smallest, simplest, and most powerful inventions in modern computing. It doesn't hum, it doesn't spin, it doesn't even make a sound. Yet, for more than 20 years, it's carried our homework, our photos, our presentations, our secrets, and sometimes even our hopes. You know it by many names: thumb drive, jump drive, memory stick, pen drive, but officially it's the USB flash drive. A tiny rectangle that forever changed how humans move information. We'll explore how it was invented, who created it, what it costs, why it spread so fast, and how it forced us to confront brand new questions about data security and digital responsibility. So grab your coffee and plug in your curiosity, and let's tap into technology. The world before the thumb drive. Close your eyes. It's 1998. Your computer tower is beige. Your monitor is cube that weighs more than your dog. And your life, your essays, spreadsheets, tax forms fit on squares of plastic called floppy disk. Each floppy holds 1.44 megabytes. That's one Word document. Or maybe two small images if you're lucky. A 3-minute MP3, forget it. You need 5 disks just for one song. If you had bigger files, you might use a zip drive, 100 megabits on a flat blue cartridge, but those drives were pricey, the disks were fragile, and compatibility was hit or miss. And if you wanted permanence, they were CDRs, shiny, reflective, and burn right once. Burn a mistake, too bad, start over. Digital cameras were arriving. PowerPoint was booming. File sizes were exploding. People were emailing themselves attachments just to move data between home and work. It was awkward, slow, and unreliable. What the world needed was something small, sturdy, rewritable, and simple. No spinning parts, no software installs, no stack of disks. Just plug in, copy, unplug, done. Technology is never just about capacity. It's about convenience. We don't crave bigger, we crave easier. The ingredients of a revolution. 2 breakthroughs made the flash drive possible. Flash memory. In 1980, at Toshiba, engineer Fujo Masuka invented flash memory, named because entire blocks of data can be erased in a flash. Unlike RAM, it kept data with the power off. Unlike disk, it had no moving parts. Early chips were expensive, dollars per kilobyte, but the idea was revolutionary. By the mid-90s, flash appeared in camera cards and industrial controllers. It was small, fast, and durable, perfect for portable storage. USB, the Universal Serial Bus. Meanwhile, over at Intel, engineer A.J. Bath led a consortium including Microsoft, IBM, Compaq, DEC, and NEC to solve another headache: the jungle of ports. Their dream: one connector for everything: mouse, keyboard, printer, modem, hot swappable, powered, plug and play. In 1996, USB 1.0 launched at 12 megabytes per second. By 1998, PCs with USB ports were shipping, waiting for a killer device. Put these two together, flash memory plus USB ports, and you get a self-contained solid-state drive powered and read by any computer. The question wasn't could it be built, but who would build it first? Innovation rarely happens in one place. Around 1993, three groups on three continents sprinted towards the finish line. SG Trek 2000 International in Singapore, they filed a patent in 1999. Produced the product was called the thumb drive. They debuted in CE-BIT 2000 trade show. Capacity 8 to 16 megabytes. Price was about $50-$60 USD. M Systems from Israel, founder Dov Moran, patent April 1999, partnered with IBM. Product Disk on a Key. It launched in December 2000 in the US. Had a capacity of 8 megabytes and the price was $49.99. That's typical US. Nantac Technology from China, patent 1999. Later filed lawsuits asserting rights. Each firm claimed priority. Historians still debate it. But together they proved an important truth. When the problem is universal, invention is inevitable. At CeBIT 2000, spectators watch a Trek engineer plug in a tiny silver stick, drag a file, unplug it. No drivers, no worrying, right? No delays. Gasps and applause followed. The demo marked the symbolic birth of the USB drive. Sometimes the future announces itself quietly. A click, a copy bar, and silence. First contact. The IBM Disk on a Key hit shelves in 2000. 8 megabytes, $50. 12 megabytes per second over USB 1.1. Plug and play on Windows 2000. No floppy size drive or disk required. Early reviewers marveled. It's like carrying a hard drive on your keychain. Yet it was pricey, around $6 per megabyte, but convenience trumped cost. By 2001, the 16 meg model arrived. By 2002, 32 and 64 megabytes followed. Capacity doubled every few months. Price tumbled. I remember waiting until Black Friday, about 2002, 2003, maybe 2004, before I bought my first USB. It was expensive. It was expensive. So yeah, getting the first one was pretty cool. The rise of the thumb drive. By 2003, 2005, flash drives invaded backpacks and briefcases. Students saved term papers and carried presentations. Teachers swapped lesson plan. Office workers hauled spreadsheets between cubicles. Photographers uploaded shoots in the field. IT admins carried rescue utilities and installer. I remember walking to a computer lab in 2004. Every monitor had a little stick poking from the front port, blinking like fireflies. The floppy is dead. Long live the thumb drive. So in early 2000, it had a capacity of 8 megabytes and it cost about $50, $6.2, $6.25 per megabit. In 2002, you had a 64 meg with the price at $40 or 63 cents a megabyte. 2004, 256 megabytes. Price was $30. It was about 12 cents per megabit. In 2006, you have 1 gigabit at $30 or 3 cents per megabit. And in 2010, 16 meg cost $20, less than 1 cent a megabyte. Right? Moore's law in practice and in plastic and silicone. The new sneakernet. Broadband was young, email limits were tiny, so people walked data from PC to PC. The sneakernet reborn. In offices, marketing teams traded PowerPoints. In classrooms, students printed essays via the library PC. In developing nations, USB ferried software where downloads were impossible. In Cuba, El Paquete Semanal, the weekly package, spread movies, news, and apps on flash drives hand to hand. Offline innovation powered by pocket storage. When network fails, human became the network. Culture and customization. Soon drives became fashion. Wristband sticks, cartoon mascots, corporate giveaways, wedding photo albums on engraved metal drives. A tool has become a token, part tech, part identity. The double-edged sword. Convenience breeds complexity, and the flash drives carry hidden dangers. Data loss. Small size equals easy to misplace. Yes. You know how many how many USB sticks I've found on computers when I walk into a classroom? I used to find at least one or two a week. And then you look at it and you see that the student has their whole like life in there, all their papers, all their stuff there. I would always try to contact the student and let them know that I have their USB and they can come to the classroom and get it, or when they come next time, they can get it. Because I know, it was important that, their stuff was there. But always would find, in the beginning of my teaching career, one or two a week, at least one or two a week. And it was sad. Sometimes you didn't know who it was, so you just left it there. So, airports, taxis, conference rooms littered with forgotten sticks. Some held trade secrets, other patent records. In 2018, in Japan, a contractor lost an unencrypted USB containing data on 460,000 residents. The drive was later found, but the trust was gone. Malware. The USB port became an infection vector. Agent.BTZ in 2008 jumped via flash drives onto U.S. military network, forcing a Pentagon-wide ban that lasted 15 months. Stuxnet in 2010 smuggled malicious code into Iran's air-gapped nuclear facilities, the first digital weapon delivered by thumb drive. Bad USB in 2014 revealed that firmware itself could be reprogrammed, turning any stick into a silent keyboard or network adapter, undetectable by antivirus. A door that opens both ways always lets the threat walk in. Edward Snowden reportedly used encrypted flash drives to extract NSA documents in 2013. For whistleblowers, dissidents, spies, portability meant power. Corporate response. Policy shifted. Mandatory encryption. Endpoint controls disabling unknown devices. Audits and loss reporting. Training. If you can pocket it, protect it. Secure drives emerge. Enter the iron key. Hardware crypt, sealed, self-destructing after 10 bad passwords. Pricey, 4 gigs for $150. Soon followed by the Kingston Data Traveler Vault. It's a keyboard models. Today, flips 140-2 level 3 drives, safeguards, government and medical data. Security caught up, but never for free. Maturity and legacy. By 2010, cloud storage rose, Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive. Yet the flash drive endured. Offline, works without Wi-Fi. Private, no third-party servers are needed. Fast, gigabits per second on USB 3.2. And then the last, no subscription, no login. You buy, you pay one price, you don't have to pay for it again. Right? I pay $9.99 for Google Drive, Google Cloud for more space a month, $9.99 a month. I can pay a whole bunch of USB sticks for the same amount. Today's sticks boast about 1 terabyte. You can buy one less than 100. Dual USB-A and USB-C connectors, speed up to 400 megabytes per second, and you have your optional biometric locks. In labs, they deploy firmware. In classrooms, they ferry lessons to remote regions. In forensic kits, they carry evidence. In disaster zones, they move maps where satellites can't. Clouds may rule the sky, but pockets still rule the ground. Culturally, the flash drive symbolizes control, tangible data in an intangible age. It appears in thrillers, heist films, spy dramas, the modern briefcase of secrets. The moral of the stick: every technology tells a human story. The USB flash drive taught us portability empowers, simplicity scales. Power requires prudence. From classroom to classified networks, it reminds us that convenience and caution must travel together. The smaller the device, the greater the responsibility. All right, let's take a look at some of the stories or the bad things that's happened with the USB drive. All right, one story takes place in 2008, deep inside U.S. military in the Middle East. A soldier, they never released the name, finds a small USB drive lying on the ground. Maybe it looked like a giveaway, maybe it was curiosity. He plugs it into a classified network computer, and in seconds, malware silently jumps across the system. That malware had a name, Agent.BTZ. It was a worm designed to scan, copy data, and connect to remote servers once online. What no one realized in the moment was that the infection could spread far beyond one base. Agent.BTZ crawled through CENTCOM networks, reaching even classified systems. It took months to detect and even longer to clean. By the end, the U.S. Department of Defense had banned all USB drives across military computers for over a year. 15 months of restrictions, entire workflows had to change. It was the largest cyber breach of U.S. military networks at the time, all because of one unverified USB drive. Sometimes the most dangerous weapon isn't a missile, it's curiosity. From that moment on, the Pentagon didn't see flash drives as a handy tool. They saw them as potential vectors of war. And this is what they used to do in conferences back in the day. They would go to conferences and do what they call candy drops. They would drop, kind of like with this, right? They would leave on the floor. They would throw the USB on the floor, hoping somebody will pick it up and plug it into the machine. Once they plugged it into the machine, that was it. Very similar to what this one was. All right, next, the woman in the reactor. All right, now let's move on to Iran, a secretive nuclear enrichment facility sealed off from the internet, air-gapped, isolated, secure. At least that's what the engineers believed. In 2010, computers at Natanz began to malfunction. Motors spun unpredictably, valves opened at the wrong time. Operators were confused. Their software looked fine, but the hardware was behaving like it had a mind of its own. Behind the scenes, a digital ghost was at work. Stuxnet. Stuxnet was one of the first pieces of cyber weaponry ever discovered. A worm built to sabotage industrial machinery. It was complex, far too complex to be ordinary malware. And because of this, and because Natanz had no internet connection, Stuxnet had only one path, the USB drives. Someone, unknowingly or not, carried the worm into the facility on a flash drive. From there, it jumped across local networks, quietly rewinding PLC code, forcing centrifuges to spin until they shattered. By the time it was discovered, roughly 1,000 centrifuges were destroyed, setting back Iran's nuclear program for years. No missile was fired, no soldier crossed a border. The battlefield was silicon. Stuxnet provided a terrifying truth. A simple thumb drive could deliver nation-state warfare. The age of the weaponized USB has begun. Next, we'll go to the data dump disaster. This is Japan. This takes place in Japan, 2018. In the city of Amaasaki, a contractor for local government was tasked with transferring data from the city's database to a secure location. The data includes names, birth dates, and personal records of 460,000 residents, essentially an entire city's identity. To make the move easier, the contractor used, you guessed it, a USB drive. Encrypted? Nope. Tracked? Nope. He finished his work, slipped the drive into his bag, and stopped for drinks on the way home. By morning, the bag was gone, and so was the USB. For days, the city officials scrambled. Residents panicked. Every headline screamed the same phrase, all personal data lost. The good news, the drive was later found in a street gutter, unharmed. The bad news, the public trust was shattered. Sometimes the cost of a breach isn't money, it's confidence and reputational loss also. That single oversight led to sweeping reforms, new encryption mandates, tighter policies, and a reminder that a USB in the wrong pocket is a disaster waiting to happen. The hotel handoff. Now we head to Australia, 2017. A luxury hotel in Melbourne begins receiving strange complaints. Guests can't access rooms, reservations vanish, billing data seems off. Investigators trace the source not to a hacker across the world, but to a USB drive left in the parking lot. Curious employees and guests picked them up and plugged them into their personal laptops and office PCs. The drives contain malicious payloads that stole credentials and opened remote access channels. Within hours, attackers had footholds across multiple networks. What started as a freebie became a full-known breach. Curiosity is humans. Attackers knows that. They'll take advantage of it. Cybersecurity call it baiting, dropping infected drives when someone will plug them in, hoping somebody will plug them in. And it works over and over because we see these devices as familiar, harmless, not as the digital grenades they can be. Again, candy drop. They used to do that in conferences. The curious student. Not all disasters make headlines. Some happen quietly in the classroom. At a Midwestern college in 2015, a student found a flash drive in a computer lab. No label, no name, just curiosity. He plugged it into the lab. Within seconds, a script launched, copying key files, installing hidden processes. Within hours, 300 campus machines were infected with ransomware. Final papers, research data, and even grading system, all encrypted. The university paid a small ransom to recover the fees. The lesson cost far more. Never trust an unknown USB. In cybersecurity, kindness can be costly. Curiosity can be catastrophic. That's why many organizations now run USB drop tests, planning fake devices to see who picks them up. It's not a trick, it's training. Because one person's instance can become everyone's problem. The corporate leak. Let's turn to the corporate world. In 2012, a European energy firm, an employee frustrated by the new firewalls copied confidential project data to a personal USB to work from home. He promised to delete it later. Weeks passed. He forgot. Then his laptop was stolen from his car. Inside the bag, the same flash drive. Blueprints, pricing data, contracts, gone. Competitors suddenly undercut bids. Rumor spreads. No malware, no hackers, just human habit. Technology didn't fail. Discipline did. Afterwards, the company banned personal USB and deployed encrypted corporate models and retrained its staff. Proof that policy must evolve with convenience. Lessons learned. From war zone to classroom, city halls to corporate towers, these stories share one truth. The USB drive is powerful, and power without policy is pearl. So what did we learn? Treat every unknown drive as a suspect. If you didn't create it, don't connect. Encrypt sensitive data. Modern drives offer AES 256 hardware encryption. Use it. Label and inventory drives. Accountability begins with identification. Use endpoint controls. IT teams can whitelist trusted devices, block the rest. Educate. Technology changes fast, habits change slow. The USB drive gave us freedom to carry our data anywhere, but freedom without caution can turn into chaos. One soldier's curiosity infected the military, one spy tool's sabotage reactors, one contractor's carelessness exposed the city, one student's impulse shut down a campus, and one employee's shortcut cost the company millions. Each story began the same way, a click, a blink, a trust. And each ended as a reminder that in cybersecurity, size doesn't matter, awareness does. So the next time you find a thumb drive on the ground, pause. Ask not what's on it, ask what could it cost me? Because the smallest device causes the biggest problems. I'm Professor J-Rod, and this has been Technology Tap. Stay smart, stay safe, and as always, keep tapping to technology.